service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC and Jib Jab greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. Your full AccuWeather forecast is always on top here on your CNC local page. No let-up yet in the declining prices for gasoline. The price has been dropping back for more than 2 months now, at about a penny per day. Our weekly check of the American Automobile Association's fuel gauge report says the average price in the Rochester region is $3.61 per gallon now. That's down 6 cents from this time last week and 28 cents from a month ago. We've seen several stations along Jefferson Road in Henrietta selling at $3.51 per gallon for regular unleaded and one at $3.48. AAA's weekly analysis says worldwide economic worries keep driving down the price of crude oil. Just as fears about a crisis with Iran were easing, investors got worried about whether the new Greek government will back away from its deficit-cutting plans and whether the Spanish banking system is about to collapse. The money raised by an online fundraising campaign on behalf of Greece school bus monitor Karen Klein has topped $641,000. The Toronto man who started it originally hoped to raise $5,000 to send Mrs. Klein on a vacation after he saw that YouTube video of her being harassed by 4 Athena Middle School 7th graders. And Lloyd Ruffle, the Greece convenience store manager and graduate student who pulled together Friday's anti-bullying rally in Greece after the bus incident, has a challenge for this and other communities. He'd like everyone to sign a pledge to support Monroe County's anti-bullying program.
You can see
They're going
people
fast.
have them to take to their friends and to get them signed and for them to show up at the county executive's office. And I would say that anybody else in the country that doesn't have something like this, here's your call to action.
Ruffle says the petitions he started gathering at Friday's rally will be delivered to Monroe County Executive Maggie Brooks. He says other communities should be organizing their own campaigns and standing up against bullying. 200 years ago, the new United States of America and Britain went to war, the War of 1812. That made British colonial Canada, not yet an independent land, enemy territory. Fleets of sailing ships fought for control of Lake Ontario. British sailors and Marines staged 4 raids on Charlotte at the mouth of the Genesee River, trying to seize supplies. This past weekend, local and Canadian representatives met at the Charlotte Genesee Lighthouse to dedicate a bicentennial peace garden. It celebrates 198 years of peace between the U.S. and Canada since the time of that war. Paula Savage is president and founder of the International Peace Garden Foundation.
The first International Peace Garden was presented to the United States by Canada in 1990 as a gesture of friendship, since both countries share the longest undefended border in the world since the War of 1812. With the bicentennial approaching, the Arts Council in Buffalo, New York, aware of the foundation and our origins being linked to the War of 1812, invited us to become the theme for an idea they were developing in the Niagara region to commemorate the bicentennial.
Originally, they planned gardens on either side of the Niagara River, but the idea took off, and now the Charlotte Garden in Rochester is one of 18, all along Lake Ontario, from Burlington, Ontario to Sackett's Harbor in New York State. Lighthouse trustee Fred Amato talked with the Peace Garden Foundation and pushed to have one of the gardens in Charlotte. The area around the mouth of the Genesee was settled long before the city of Rochester was founded, and it did play a role in the war.
What they wanted to do is they wanted to come to one of our events we were having here and set up a table and tell people about it. And that's how it started. Once we saw what it was all about, we felt that this was a great place to have our Peace Garden, because we had 4 occasions when the British came here. 3 of them they actually landed.
And so the crowd sang the Star-Spangled Banner, O Canada, and God Save the Queen, all punctuated by cannon salutes. Statements were read from the Canadian Consul General and Congresswoman Louise Slaughter. Rochester Mayor Tom Richards spoke, and the official marker was unveiled, all commemorating the end of a war that started 200 years ago this month, and a peace that has stood firm ever since it ended. There's not too much left of a well-known Brighton sports bar. Woody's 2 on West Henrietta Road was gutted by fire early Sunday. The West Brighton fire chief said his department was called out by an automatic alarm just before 4:30 Sunday morning. He said the building was fully involved in flames when they got there. The building's a total loss. Nobody was inside, and nobody was hurt. The Sweet family, which owns the bar, is looking at whether they can rebuild or build something else. The Monroe County Sheriff's Department made an arrest over the weekend in the shooting of a Rochester man in the town of Wheatland. Deputies charged 20-year-old Vincenzo Zagari of Parma with first-degree assault in connection with the shooting of 42-year-old Angel Figueroa, who was found on Smith Road in Wheatland, suffering from a gunshot wound. Figueroa is still recovering at Strong Memorial Hospital. Zagari is in the Monroe County Jail, and the Sheriff's Office hasn't said yet what led up to the shooting. On this page, you can find links to these and other stories. At the bottom, links for you to use. Post us your news updates, sports, and salutes. If it's important to you, we want to see it. Next news as it happens, updates when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.